Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey and welcome back to another episode of r/choosingbeggars. And if you're gonna watch this episode and you're not gonna leave me a tip, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe. I'm not gonna do that to you, it's your freaking YouTube, you do what you want with it, mate. Hello, I love your work so much. Are your commissions still open? Hello, glad you like my work. Yes, my commissions are open, what can I do for you? Okay, great. So I'm a huge fan of your Art Nouveau style, especially the last one. I would love to have a self-portrait in that style. It's only a self-portrait if the artist does himself, but you know what, I'm just gonna disregard that little technicality there. I see. So like a bust or full body? Maybe to the thighs like your last post. Okay, great choice. With colours? I just want you to know that this style is really full of details, it might be more expensive. Yes, definitely with colours. There's no problem. I can pay, like, up to €100. Okay, great, but I'm sorry it might be a bit more than that with colours. See, I usually take a ratio of €15 an hour, and the last post without colours took me, like, 6 to 7 hours. If you want the drawing to be accurate enough to look more like you, it might take even more time, so with full colours, I would estimate more around a €200 to €220 mark. Oh, okay, 15 an hour? That sounds like a lot.
By the way, that really should be minimum wage. It's really not a lot. Okay, moving on.
I thought I was generous with 100, but that is too much for me. I understand, but those are my prices. Well, to fit more with your budget, I could do without the colours. No, it's still too much, sorry. I can't get why you're charging so much for a drawing. Oh, and here it is. Oh, I know I'm doing a little bit of commentary even though I haven't finished reading this yet, but it really freaking bugs me when they're like, why are you charging so much? Like, it isn't your place to ask why the artist is charging as much as they are. You know, your budget's there for a reason. If you can't afford it, find someone that will do it within your budget, okay. I do a living out of it, and I think they are pretty reasonable for a commissioned work. Yeah, but it's still like a drawing. You do that out of passion in your free time too, right? I don't usually draw portraits of strangers in my free time, lol. You just lost a client, bye! Have a nice day. Oh god. Right, yeah, as if they, were really gonna be happy working for mere pennies for your, great big complicated art piece. There's not really too much commentary as I kind of was going along with it on this one. But it's just so bloody rude, just to say, why are you charging so much for that? It's basically saying, I don't think that your time and your talent is worth it. Can't you just, waste time for me? It's really freaking rude, There's a reason that, they're in this industry. Then, the whole is, go to someone who cooks, who enjoys baking, can't you just make me a cake? Because you like baking, right? I mean, I know you're not going to be the one eating it or enjoying it or anything, but I really want a cake. And then again, I'm sure the bakers have to deal with that crap as well, so maybe it's not a fair comparison. Hey, if you weren't informed by Mike, it's mine and Christian's wedding next month. If you're buying us gifts, the requirement to buy us gifts is above $250 for either me or Christian. So, what you're saying is that you want something over $250? Yep. Well then, don't expect me coming. We have beer, cocktails, cake. Well then, you're losing out because we have so much people here that have confirmed. Thinking about it, this could just be a very clever way to uninvite people from your wedding without offending them. Just tell them that there's a gift requirement and that they can't come unless they meet this certain requirement. To be fair, they would think that you're like a butthole for the rest of your life. But you know what? If you don't care what they think of you, then why not use this technique? Okay, so I'm so sure that this wasn't a technique being used. I mean, for God's sake, we have beer, cocktails, cake. I'm sorry, but if I went out for the night and and I'm a fat guy as well. I love my beer, I love my cake. If I went out on a night and I'm completely gorged on beer, cocktails, and cake, I would never spend over $250 on it. That's just wild. I mean, in the audacity to go, oh hey, by the way, the minimum requirement if you're buying us gifts, no, you don't deserve that. Say that there's a minimum, my god. What a way to just freaking extort your friends. Babysitter needed. Looking for babysitter to come to my 2-bedroom condo from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Location, just off of the ZVP on Eglinton. 2 girls, 6 and 2, both well behaved and polite. Must provide food. Vegan organic food only. Must be smoke free. Must submit criminal background check. Will pay $5 upon clean records. Don't ask me to pay for the check. Women only. Must work weekends with no notice. Price listed is weekly. If after 6 months, if we are still conducting business, wages will go up to $150 a week. No, you cannot sleep at my condo. No, you cannot have friends over. No, you cannot study, watch YouTube / be on your phone while on duty. We use, and I really wish I could have seen the rest of that, because I want to know how much more they're demanding. Okay, give me a second, because for working from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. they haven't said the days. I'm just going to assume that that's Monday to Friday. A week? Okay, let me work out how much this would work out as. Okay, so if you were to take this extremely lucrative job, you would be paid a whole 87 cents per hour per child, and you have to bring your own vegan organic food along with that. You would actually be losing money on this job. And the fact that they're so demanding, must be this, must do this, like must work weekends with no notice. Also, you want them to be completely like Sports Direct exploited into a 0-hour contract just, you know, to get that 87 cents. My god, this is just so freaking disgusting. Also, if anybody read this, understood that, and was still interested, then trust me, they are not the kind of people that you want alone with your children. Because, you know, money's probably not the reason they want to be there. Because who the hell would go with money is in mind? I mean, 87 cents an hour, I mean, surely even if you're really, really desperate, especially if you've got to provide vegan organic food, again, you're going to be losing money. So, yeah, people who are desperate for money are going to take this because they can't freaking afford it. Anybody who does take this is a freaking creep. I mean, seriously, I don't know how people can lowball so much when it comes to looking after their children. Surely you want to, like, pay a little bit more than normal. And I understand how, you know, sometimes finding affordable childcare is very difficult, but this is not the way to go about it. My boyfriend is seriously an inconsiderate person. I wish he could be more thoughtful. He ordered me a cake for my birthday. Okay, it was quite expensive, so shows he got some sincerity. However, he asked me to go pick it up. He is currently overseas temporarily for work. Like, come on, how cheap can you get? Just pay the $35 delivery fee. Why inconvenience me? I expressed my dissatisfaction to him, and he said it doesn't make much sense to pay that much for delivery when the distance isn't even that far in the first place. He said he is happy to pay my taxi 2 ways, saying it'll be about 15 total. At this point, I was just furious. He wants me to sit in a taxi in rush hour traffic just to save money? So cheapskate. Yeah, it's definitely the boyfriend in this situation that's the cheap one. So according to the comments on this one, this is like very typical of a rich Singaporean. Is it Singaporean? I'm just gonna say person from Singapore. You know, the la and the so cheapskate and that kind of entitled behaviour is like classic of like the bourgeoisie in that country. So that was like the flavour that this has. So I'm sorry, because me reading it out probably completely took that away from it. Sorry, I always find these little languagey things really interesting, as I mentioned quite a few times. But anyway, moving away from the stuff that only I personally find interesting. Like, 35, like, she's serious. Okay, so she would rather that he pays, like, more than double for a taxi just for, you know, a delivery fee. Like, why not just freaking walk there? You know, from what it says, like, she can just like go and get it. Like, why saying that he's a cheapskate because he won't pay that much? When, yeah, that is an absolutely extortionate delivery fee, especially if the only problem, you know, between you and the place is that you just don't want to get off of your ass, and the fact that she didn't even want to get in a taxi as well. My god. This is one of those situations we see all too often on r/choosing beggars, but to be honest with you, the owner's response was so professional, so polite, but really cutting. It was just absolutely beautiful. I think you'll love it as much as I did. Wedding, 10th of April 2021. Good morning. My client is a well-known social media influencer who is planning to be married at the Red venue on the 10th of April 2021. In the lead up to her wedding beginning this summer, she would like a documentary-style video, an hour long, and photos taking of bridal fittings which can be shared with her followers. On the day of the wedding, she would like a video documenting the whole day, must be 1 hour plus in length, and a package that includes approximately 1,000 photos. In exchange, she is willing to extensively promote your business to followers on Instagram and Facebook, combined amount of 55,000, including story shoutouts, and will offer a discount of at least 25% on your packages. Just so you are aware, we have approached 4 other similar businesses in your area, so a fast response will be beneficial to your business. And then, what the owner of the business had to say back. They just listed the points so beautifully. Hi Melissa, thanks for your email and we really appreciate the offer. We don't usually offer our services for anything other than our regular going rate, however we would consider making an exception in this case. Firstly, we would like to check if there might have been a typo in your original email, specifically relating to a missing 0 on the amount of combined followers that your client has across all of their platforms. As I'm sure you probably know, 55,000 is not the usual level of following which can command the free transfer of products worth between £3,000 and £4,000 in total. God, I'm bloody British, I forgot that. £3,000 to £4,000 in total, especially when you take into account bots, duplicate accounts, and the types of followers who are not our target audience. As another example, we have friends that have more than 55,000 followers on one single platform, and they have even been known to pay certain suppliers a fair day's wage for their goods and services. Having said all that, I'm aware that this wedding date is nearly 2 years off, so if you are confident predicting that by April 2021 your client will have gained the minimum level of following that could realistically put them in the category of influencer, then we would be happy to make some sort of arrangement. However, we would in this case require a clause in the contract stating that promoting us in your stories to anything less than 500,000 followers across one single platform by the time of the wedding will trigger the full price in pounds sterling for the services you have requested. Thanks also for your thoughtful suggesting of a 25% cut in our fee for any followers that book through your client's promotional posts. Previously, when we have received recommendations and promotions from high-value clients, we have been able to actually raise our prices in reflection of their strong reputations. So in that vein, it's helpful to know in advance that being linked with your client would automatically knock 25% off the perceived value of the products we have spent so many years honing. Finally, we really appreciate how valued as artists and professionals you have made us feel by informing us that you have only sent this exact same email to 4 other companies and that a fast response will secure us the wedding rather than any artistic considerations. Likewise, please get back to us as soon as possible if you have any further questions and we can start to get something locked in the diary. Thanks, Laura and Frankie, betrothed and co. Now, we all know that was absolutely beautiful. We know that it was cutting enough to just essentially say in the most professional way, you're not an influencer, you've just got a big ego. But, oh gosh, they replied. They replied on behalf of their quote-unquote client. Good afternoon. Frankly, my client and I find that kind of unprofessional email appalling, and we will no longer be considering you as contenders to shoot what would have been a very lucrative wedding for you. It would have been a great opportunity for you to network with other social media influencers and some celebrities who will be making TV appearances later in the year. On top of that, we have had other businesses reply to us with additional offers of goods and services, basically paying us to work with them, rather than giving us a load of jip like what you have. This wedding is really important to my client, as her mother has been diagnosed with cancer, and it's really unfair of you to be so mean when you could have just said no politely. Please don't email again, as we will have to name and shame you if you continue with this abuse. Regards, Melissa. So I've said this before about influencers, and I'll say it again, I do know that there are very, very, very freaking few that do make it big and have these great big cult followings and make a crap ton of money from it. I personally don't understand it. I don't understand this whole vicarious living through rich people's pictures and that. It is something that I'll never really get my head around. Also, sorry if you hear random freaking wood banging in the background. It's windy as heck, and there's nothing I can do about that because it's not coming from my property, but whatever. And a lot of this whole social media influencer thing just comes from people having way too high opinions of themselves because they'll either have like a certain level of attractiveness or a certain level of money, and therefore think that just pictures of them doing all that stuff somehow makes them an influencer. And yes, 55,000, it could very much just be bots. It could just be a load of pervs, it could be a load of guys that just, want to perv on this relatively pretty young lady, I assume. Now, one of the really funny things about this is the fact that they have the whole pretense that they're writing on behalf of the client. Like, it's so obvious that this Melissa person does not exist. And I think that that's why the name was kept in there as well, because there is a certain amount of privacy going on, but at the same time, like, the fact that they say, my client is well known, my client would love this, they're willing to do this, and that. And yeah, the whole, we'll offer a discount of at least 25% on your packages. First of all, it is so freaking cheeky to assume, to say, oh, this is how much you will be discounting your products by, but also of having a limit. Like, what if they were even willing to discount up to 30%? Like, on the off chance, let's say that they were willing to discount, like, the photographer, was willing to discount 30%, right? But they're saying no, at least 20. Oh no, of at least 25%. Oh, so it has to be more. Oh, I thought that it was up to. Oh my god, I read that more. That's really bad. Oh my god. And what? How is that gonna do her any good? I'm sorry, but that just completely threw me. This is how I know that it was definitely not on behalf of a client, because first of all, they're too freaking cheap to pay for a photographer. They're definitely not going to pay for a bloody wedding planner, not planger. Bloody hell, like the clangers. Yeah. Anyway, the whole pretense of the client is just such freaking bollocks. Because first of all, no wedding planner. Why am I having such trouble with that word? My goodness. Okay, no wedding planner. There we go, would be like making such ridiculous offers like this. And if say I'm just gonna say the bride in this case, in this because she is the bride. I don't know why that was strange for me to say. But anyway, let's say that the bride stepped forward and said, "Look, I have this many followers. I want you to find me photographers that would be willing to do this." I'm sure that like they would be like saying, that's just not gonna freaking happen. If you're struggling to pay for it, you need to find something within your budget, not like send Karen-esque demanding emails to various photographers and insulting them when they say no. And I love the way that they reply back with, "Oh, surely you don't mean 55,000 because that's nothing." That was beautiful. So yeah, the fact that they wrote would of instead of would have or would have, like, shows that it wasn't somebody that writes these kinds of emails professionally. I'm not crapping on people that do make grammar mistakes, because we're all human, and I stand by the idea that if you can be understood, then there's nothing wrong with what you've said. But if you're going to be in a professional situation where you're writing formal emails, then you have to have a certain level of writing in order to be able to do that job. And clearly, it's the freaking bride. Come on, we all know it's her. The fact she was so outraged, going, "Oh yeah, well, other people wanted to give me loads of stuff as well, and you've really missed out because I was going to have celebrities. I was going to have Elton John there, and he was going to tell me that I looked pretty in my wedding dress and that he wished that I was his daughter." That's the sort of vibes I'm getting from this. Damn. And just such a beautiful way of being cut down, especially when you know damn well I have spent now, boom, 10 minutes on this single story. This is ridiculous. Damn. Wow, this was just so beautiful. I mean, I don't know how this is. Clearly, she's not going to be getting these services. So I wonder how many angry emails she's going to be sending out before she realizes that, having an Instagram account doesn't really pay the bills. Well, that's it for this episode of r/Choosing Beggars. I swear I could never have the amount of cheekiness that these Choosing Beggars had, and I kind of wish I did. As I say at the end of every episode, if you enjoyed hearing from this subreddit or would like to hear from any other subreddit, then do let me know in the comments. And until then, I'll see you all next time.